the side of Wolf, taking away Cassiopeia, Jace, and Lulu. Meanwhile, Frozen taking away that Annie, Kate, and Lucian. Really unsurprising bans coming in from Frozen, particularly the Caitlyn.
And just like that, here we are. So welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Solo King. Our second best of 3 of the night features Wolf versus Frozen. The Lissandra versus, I almost said Rammus matchup. It's Lissandra versus Sion. My name's Rapid, with me is Achilleos, and we're getting into our first game in this second best of 3 of the night.
Yeah, now that's actually a matchup I would like to see. Lissandra versus Rammus. That would be one heck of a game.
We've actually, I think the craziest 1v1 I've seen is a Leona versus Malzahar. That was
I caught that one. That was one heck of a game. Leona came out on top, if I recall.
Yeah, it was crazy. I would never have expected that in a million years, but I've seen a little bit of a dance-off here between Wolf and Frozen.
This is the ultimate respect.
Oh, Frozen with the BM. Frozen had the disrespect.
Yeah, he throws out the ice shards, getting a little bit of damage on Wolf. Oh, the second one as well. Wow.
Oh man.
So much BM, and Wolf is he is unfazed by it. He's just shaking it off.
Yeah, a little bit of healthy, friendly banter before we get into things. And with the Crystalline Flask here from Wolf, we should see him start in base. Actually, really interesting to see Frozen start with 1 Total Biscuit of Rejuvenation and a Mana Potion. Traditionally, you'd see 2 Total Biscuits of Rejuvenation just because you get mana back from that anyway, and Lissandra already has a very strong mechanic to cause her spells to not cost any mana. So definitely something to keep an eye on. And this is reminiscent of the Doran's Ring build that Faker went on his Lissandra, instead of the more sustain-oriented Crystalline Flask.
We'll have to see what happens here. I'm very intrigued as to how Wolf is going to play this Sion against the ranged harass of Frozen. So we can see he does have some AP, so a little bit of a throwback to the classic Sion build. We might see him going heavily into that field of damage, which I think would be very exciting. See, he only really has one ability, if I'm correct, that scales off of AP, which would be his Roar of the Slayer.
Yeah, it is primarily going to be that Roar of the Slayer that is maxed out here. It gives you actually a lot of damage, and versus a Sion, and this is a very big departure from his previous build before he got reworked. He's actually more of a mage type champion. You're gonna die to magic damage versus Sion, not necessarily the physical damage, even though you may see physical damage items being built on him. It's a little bit of a weird way to think about it, but you can just see continual roars of the Slayer hitting Frozen, who actually losing in the HP battle, so losing in mana as well. So nice early play here by Wolf. He'll get level 3 slightly after Frozen.
Yeah, he does still have that mana potion Frozen, but he's hanging on to it for a bit longer, still regenning. He's using his mana saving abilities to the most that he can, but as we can see, Wolf already just having a great showing. Now both potions being burned by Frozen, and Wolf still sitting strong with both his flask and his health pots here. Even in CS so far, though.
Frozen going to have a significant sustained disadvantage, so he's actually going to have to put out enough aggression to warrant not having picked up the Crystalline Flask to start with. And versus the Sion, the whole kind of idea is that as Sion, you just tank up through the early lane phase, get yourself to a point where you're basically unkillable. And keep in mind, I'm not sure if this is the 5.3 patch. I'm gonna have to check with our admins, but on 5.3, items like Spirit Visage and even the Spectre's Cowl that builds into it are, I've actually just received a recent buff, gives you 150% of your 150% health regeneration for a little bit. So that's a super effective way to deal with AP mages, although probably a little bit out of the budget for most 1v1s.
Yeah, very much a huge increase though for that. Like you said, that Spirit Visage there, 50% increase base regen, nothing to really shake a stick at. So I'll be interested to see if we can have that come out. Wouldn't be too surprised, like you said, if Wolf wants to opt for that to kind of counter Frozen's AP aggression. As we see now, Frozen just really catching back up and gaining himself a little bit of lead with CS now 33-30. No real action coming out thus far. TB is burned by Wolf. Frozen now out of mana. Gonna go ahead and use that Glacial Path, get himself underneath of his turret. Cancels recall though.
Yeah, he actually recalled too close to the lanes. So, and he still gets stopped by that Roar of the Slayer. Wow, that range is just really insane. Much longer when you actually hit a minion with it, and due to his late recall back to base, he's actually going to lose at least 2 CS here to turret. And that will give Wolf another free trip back to base, from which he will be able to just walk back into lane if he wants to. But he's not going back. Just kidding.
As we can see, the instant cast TP did come out from Frozen, so both TPs now burned out. Triple Doran's build, plus Biscuits coming in from Frozen. So really interesting to see here now, even on CS. That Ruby Crystal and the Null Magic Mantle so far from Wolf. So you can see he's countering the aggression quite nice. Frozen taking a good chunk.
Ooh, yeah, that Roar of the Slayer hitting there as well is it's very frustrating to lane versus Sion, because as long as he has enough mana, he's going to infinitely shove the wave in there. There's very few champions that shove comparable to Sion. Now Lissandra is one of them. We'll see if she has enough mana sustain, enough AP to just shove this wave in, because for right now, Wolf is definitely putting on the pressure. Level 6 versus level 6 here. Frozen might have kill potential in the next few seconds, but he's going to have to watch out for being killed. Wolf is putting on the pressure.
Yeah, that Roar of the Slayer absolutely ripping through. I'd say Wolf is pretty safe for the moment, as we can see Frozen being forced to back again already in this lane, still down in CS before he recalls, and that Roar of the Slayer is just absolutely ripping through these minions. Wolf is going to be pushed to the tower quite soon. That Decimating Smash just cleaving down all of the minions. But the Ops actually recall, not looking to put too much damage in on the tower. He has other things in mind. He wants to go back and he wants to get some items. There's the Spectre's Cowl with another Null Magic Mantle coming out. It's going to be very difficult for Frozen to put any kind of damage in on him at this point.
Yeah, and I was actually, like I said, I expected Spectre's Cowl to be a little bit out of the ordinary or a little bit too expensive, but look at Wolf. He's actually going to ult himself back into lane, does get the damage down onto Frozen, but with a nice Ice Path behind him, he'll actually avoid most of the damage, and Wolf will be pushed back to his turret. A little bit of HP taken down, but with this Spectre's Cowl, I don't know if there's any way that Frozen can kill him now.
Yeah, it doesn't seem very likely at this point, unless Frozen could somehow pull out something like a Void Staff to really get through the
Void
front of the
Staff in
MR
a
that he
1v1.
has. Yeah, that would be quite surprising to see if we could reach that type of point in the 1v1. So you can see he's really just going to have to rely on the CS game and he's going to have to make sure that his turret does not get shoved down in this matchup. I think that's really going to come down to if Frozen can win this game.
Yeah, theoretically,
70-63, we're getting close to that 100 CS mark.
Yeah, that is true, and theoretically, Frozen should have enough ability power to just spam those ice shards out on the wave and get perfect CS, but with Wolf hitting almost every single one of his Roars of the Slayer, he's both going to win in CS and win in overall damage, and also be unkillable. So sitting in a great place here. Struggles starting to come out from Frozen, and keep in mind there's no ignite, there's no exhaust, there's no aggressive summoner spells to help Frozen pick up kills in this matchup. Wolf, I think, might have just sort of won himself out this matchup based solely on not being killable.
Yeah, it's certainly starting to look that way right now. Outside of somehow winning in CS, he's down by 8 right now. Outside of that, for Frozen, the only way I could really see him bringing this one back into his favor is maybe getting a very well-timed Frozen Tomb onto Wolf under tower, and then being able to clear out the minions quickly with an Ice Shard and turning the aggro over. That's really the only thing I could foresee for him. But Wolf is, he's smarter than that. He's not quite going to allow something like that to happen. So we see very much playing with the lane, kind of pushing against himself. he still maintains that CS lead as we get ever closer to the 100 CS mark.
Yeah, I think this game will be decided based on CS, unless, of course, Frozen continues to walk into those Roars of the Slayer. It's not a big mystery where you're going to take damage from as Wolf walks toward the minion and then punts it into you. You can see it once again, Frozen losing all that HP. Frozen overall with more damage, but Wolf with just so many tank stats at this point. Frozen kind of playing scared.
Yeah, as we can see, both TPs are back up, so it'll be unsurprising if we see either of them recall at this point, just to buff themselves up even more. Frozen, particularly being the one that needs the damage. Come back in the lane now, 93 to 88 CS. He gets hit by another roar. Forced to go ahead, Glacial Path back to the sanctity of his turret. And that will be the recall. Wolf is just going to hit 100 CS very soon here.
And yeah, 2 CS and he wins the game. I guess that recall back to base was in a desperate attempt to get some itemization coming in.
And there it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
And even though Frozen will be able to pick up the kill, he's just a little bit too little too late. That'll be a win for Wolf in game 1 versus Frozen.
Yeah. Fairly anticlimactic win coming in there. Frozen just second